In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this potion bottle. This is the same method I used when making this image for a contest on CG Boost. The contest was called Magic Book, but in the background you can see I used a potion bottle with a red potion, and there's a different type of potion bottle with a green potion. It's also the same method I used for the ink bottles, both the glowing one and the black ink. So we're going to start off by deleting the default cube. And we're going to hit Shift A, add a mesh cylinder. We're going to move it up in the Z 1 meter. I'm going to leave this as a full, huge, big 2 meter wide bottle. I'm not going to mess with scale. But what we're going to do is we're going to do object, apply location. We want that point down there. I always like all my points down on that. For objects that sit on top of stuff, you always want your 0 at the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into this bottle. We're going to grab the edge. We're going to hit Alt, select that edge, GG, bring it down to about here. I'm not going to do any exact measurements. It's just going to be approximations, because your bottle can look however you want it to look. In this case, I'm just going to make a bottle that bows out and then comes back up to a top. So what we're going to do is we're going to extrude in the Z direction to about here. We're going to scale that outward by hitting S. Then we're going to extrude up to however high we want the neck of the bottle. Then we're going to scale that inward by hitting S. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. We're going to Alt, loop select, Control B, and we're going to bevel this, but we're going to roll it out so it's curved. I'm going to do it about like that. Now, to finish this bottom of this bottle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to loop select that, Control B, bring it up. I'm going to get less curves though, because we're going to do a smooth shade on this. About right there. And then we're going to grab that bottom one. Same thing, Control B. You got to make sure that when you're doing this, oops, a little too close. You don't want this to go above this line, because then it gives you a glitchy surface. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select the bottom surface. We're going to do an eye to inset. And then we're going to do an eye to inset again, come way in. And then we're going to do a G, Z, and move a little bit. Give it kind of a curvature. If you want something to visualize to curve it to, we'll go into wireframe. And what we want to do is we want to move it in the Z to be about as high as this. So this here, you want to come up to about flush with it. And I think they used to do that on bottles to catch the fire and roll it through the heat. But, oh, it looks pretty good. What we're going to also do is come in, we're going to loop grab that, Control B, and roll that, and same down here. Control B, don't forget Control B. Alright, something's going on there. We're going to roll back into solid mode. We're going to go back to edit. We're going to select that, Control B. There we go. Roll it out. So when you smooth shade it, it's all nice and shiny. Alright, now we need to split the rest of this up to be about equal to this. So Control R for a loop cut. Just scroll till the sizes are about the same. I think mine would be about right there. It's maybe a little smaller, but it's not going to matter. Then we're going to come in here. We're going to loop cut this, or loop select this. Go to front view, and what we want to do is we want to extrude up to about there. Then we want to extrude up again to about there. Now we're going to do a lip on this bottle here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a E extrude and come up to about here. Now, the reason why I didn't just come out and come around is because I don't want the inside of the bottle to have that loop. So we're going to grab this top surface and we're going to delete it. We're going to come in here and we're going to loop select this here. We're going to do a Control B and bevel that up to about there. We want to leave enough space here, even though we can move this up a little bit. We're going to do something here later. Alright, so now I got my shape of my bottle. I tab out, and what I want to do is I want to come over here, add a modifier. We're going to do solidify, and then if you look, my glass, I want my glass thicker than that. So we're going to change its thickness to however thick you want your glass. And it will matter when you apply the material. It's gonna look thick. So you don't want a thick bottle like that. So let's go about there. In my case, it'll be about 0.025. I'm gonna apply that. Alright, so now if I tab into it, I have all my edges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. So let's see. Well, come over here, right here. Alright, so I'm going to come right down here. Loop cut. I'm going to grab this surface here. And I'm going to scale it outward. A little bit, so you have that bottleneck. But what we're going to do is we're going to grab this loop here. I don't like how far out it is. Going to oops, I need a loop select. Z this up right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to loop that, and we're going to loop this, and we're going to do a Control B for bevel. We're going to make it rounded. We want these to almost, I mean, you can make them look like they're touching. And then what we're going to do is, I'm going to go A. I'm going to click that, click A, right mouse click, and say merge vertices by distance. Now you'll notice down at the bottom that nothing was merged. That's because its merge distance is really tiny. So we're going to put this at 0.01. Alright, so that gives us a nice round bottleneck. If we want, we can come in here, loop select that, G, Z, that up a little bit more. Just kind of shape it however you want to shape it. We're going to select this inside loop here. We're going to do a Control B, bevel that down. This is going to lead down inside. So basically what you want is you want the inside not to follow this. Which brings us to the next spot on here. We're going to add a neck out here. And this is used on potion bottles, I would assume, to sit in the Bunsen burner or whatever kind of heat, where they can grab it with tongs or something that can sit right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that. We're going to do an eye to inset. We're going to come down not very far, click to place it, and then we're going to scale this out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the outside edge, the inside edge. We're going to do a Control B. It's so the two lines line up just like before. You can do it like that. There's other ways you can do this too. Then I'm going to come down here and do the bottom the same way. Control B. So they about touch. Right? And I'm gonna also yeah, look at this little spot here. Those probably are joined together too. So I'm gonna go an A, right mouse, merge by distance. Oh, I gotta click the vertices. Right mouse for merge by vertices by distance, and then tab out, and then your bottle will look like this. You can spend more time, like I can loop cut this, right? And I could have scaled it out to another loop bevel if I wanted some other weird shape on there, but we're gonna leave it like this. So it doesn't look too weird. What we're gonna do is gonna go into wireframe, loop select all this, and I'm gonna do GZ and bring it down so this looks rounded like that. Back to the solid. We're gonna do a click on the bottle, select. We're gonna do a smooth shade. Can't see that. I could make this part of the bottle skinnier if I wanted, but basically, your inside of the bottle does not follow these thicknesses. That's what we're going for. All right. So now that we got this all done, what we're going to do is we're going to apply the material that I'm going to give you in the description. There's going to be a link to actually download this exact bottle, so you can bring the materials in. Because if you look right now, I have no materials. I just have this one material. This material for the glass, I'm gonna let's first of all let's do a plane on the bottom, scale it up by 10, just so we have something to look at through the glass. I'm gonna go zero view, hit N, go to view, let's move this bottle down into this view, click on that so we can move around again without changing it. GX, move my plane over. You know what? I'm just gonna scale it again. Scale 10. Alright. So if I render, I see the bottom. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna take this bottle and I'm gonna move it over to the side like this. And this is gonna be the view I use for my thumbnail for this video. But right now, if we went into render view, this is what you see. You know what? Let's move that to the other side, so you get the light. There we go. Alright, so this bottle needs to be glass. If I used this glass shader, standard one, this is what it looks like. I mean, you could tweak the settings, get it to look a little better. But years ago, I came across this guy who knew, he did all the studying about how light reflects through glass. And he created a material and then he gave it away at the end of his little presentation. And I've been using this for years. And this is the best looking glass still. I think I've been using this since 2.6. This is still the best looking glass, so I'm going to grab that glass. This is a standard black shader. If I was to spread this out, it would... I gotta also remember not to talk while this is rendering. Forgot that chirps. But, or it cuts out. So I'm sorry if it's any of this has been cut out. But anyways, this glass bottle here, if I apply that texture I was talking about, which I now have in here, it's called glass potion bottle. See, it looks a lot better. It's a lot better looking glass. So anyways, we're going to go back over to materials selection, so I don't have any kind of rendering and verbal issues. So now what we need to do is we need to, I got the glass, you applied the glass material to your bottle. Now what we need is the potion. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the front view. We're going to go into solid shading. We're going to tab into this bottle. And what we're going to do is we're going to look down at the, we're going to pick faces. We're going to look down at the top of this bottle here. Right about here, I'm going to loop select that. I'm going to hide it. And then I'm going to hit L on the outside edge. And we're going to hide that. Now, our potions can be at different heights. I mean, however full you want your potion bottle. I'm going to have my potion bottle be right about there. So I'm going to loop select that, hide that, hit L on this, I'm going to hide that. So now this is basically what my potion's going to be, is right here. I don't know what that is right there. I'm going to delete it though. Okay. So tab back into there. So this is actually the inside of the glass, but we need this to be the potion. So what we're going to do is we're going to use L to select it, Shift D to copy it. So we got it over here. Right mouse click, put it back where it was. Right mouse click again, separate selection. Now what that did, I'm going to tab out, what that did is it created a copy and moved it out of the bottle. So now I have this. We're going to go in front view, we're going to unhide everything. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into wireframe mode. I did a Shift Z there to go into wireframe real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the inside bottle. There it is. And then what we're going to do, see this line here is inside of the glass, end up with it. What I want to do is I want to tab into my bottle, or into my potion, select everything, and I want to scale it up just a little bit. Just a little bit, so it breaks that surface. That way the rendering engine doesn't have problems with it. I'm going to tab out of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to Shift H to hide everything but the bottle, or but the potion. Tab back into the potion. We're going to go back to solid so we can see it better. And we're going to loop select this top edge. And then we're going to hit F to close it. We're going to hit I to inset it and go just a little bit. What we want is we want this little bit of edge here, because then we're going to go in a little bit more. Well, actually, we're going to go in about halfway. Click, and then that's inset of halfway and click. And then we're going to hit G, Z, and come down just a little bit, because water has, the inside of the bottle has friction, and water will kind of like rise up against the edge. You can do it a little bit sharper because it actually is probably a little sharper than this, but for right now this is what I'm going to have it right there. And then we're going to do a Control B to bevel this so it kind of smooths out slowly. And then we're going to tab out of that. Now for your potion, it probably still has the glass selected. Well, I can show you how to create this potion material. It's really simple. What we're going to do is we're just going to select it because I brought it in. But it's easily broken down. And I'll show you the glass thing in a minute too, how that's broken down. But this is your regular old glass, like from here. And then you put in a color RGB. You hook that to color, you hook this over onto a volume absorber color, and it ends up creating this where the thicker you go, the less light that makes it through. And I have it on a 0.2 density. And what that looks like is this, and I'm going to show you right here real quick. Now you see it's got a nice red to it. But let's say we wanted a nice pink potion. You can switch to colors. Blue, white, green, whatever color you want. We're going to stick with pink. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the bottle back on. Everything else back on. And let's see what that looks like. Alright, it doesn't look too bad. Now what we need is a cork. Alright, now for the cork, what we're going to do is we're going to tab in. We're going to select the bottle, tab into it. We're going to. Oh, it's kind of throwing me off because of the. Okay, so once we're all in here, we're going to do Shift H. We're going to tab in. We're going to do an Alt H, turn everything back on. Now what we need to do is grab this inside area where the cork goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to loop select, and loop select. We're going to do a Shift D, right mouse click again, subdivide selection. Tab out, select that, Shift H. Now all we have is what we just copied. Now, right now we're just going to subtract that material. We don't need a glass cork. You might want a glass cork, you know. Now how they do liquor bottles, they use a glass cork, a glass plug with the rubber seal. But we're doing a cork made out of cork. So we're going to tab into that. One of the things we're going to do is I want to loop select this. I'm going to extrude it in the Z direction. Let's have it stick up a little ways. Then I'm going to scale that outwards. And then I'm going to loop select this and Control B and blend it. Alright, now down here we want the cork to go a little deeper than where it was. So we're going to go E, Z, down to there. I'm going to scale it in a little bit. And we got to fill it. So we're going to hit F. And then what we do is going to do Control B, bevel the edge, like so. And then we're going to come up to the top, going to do a loop select, and we're going to do an F. And here we can do a small Control B, because you don't really want a big rounded cork on top. I mean, you could have the kind that's like a sphere, but that's up to you. I'm going to grab the top surface and inset it again, just because. I don't want the edge being right there. Same with the bottom. Inset. Alright. Now, this is, you can like make little cracks and whatever you want into the cork. But let's see how this looks so far. Oh, I'm going to do a Alt H. Do render view again. Okay, now we need to make it look like cork. We'll go click on it, Shift H, View 1. Alright, I'm going to supply you guys with this texture. It's just an image I got off the internet, but I've already brought it into the previous project. I named it Cork. Actually, maybe I got it from somewhere else. But anyways, here's the cork. And the problem we have with this cork is it doesn't look good. So what we need to do is unwrap this. If you hit A for all and you hit UV unwrap, it's still garbage. So what you're going to need to do is, and this is how I did this, UV cylinder projection. And it looks pretty decent. Let's go to the front view. Select all, do UV cylinder projection again. I guess this depends on what direction you look, it really matters. Now the top should look like garbage, and the bottom should look like garbage. That's fine. What we're going to do here is we're going to go to 7. We're going to select that face. We're going to loop select that face with shift clicked. Same here and here. Go back to 7. Here we're going to UV and we're going to project from view. And we're going to do that the same on the bottom. So loop select, select, while holding shift. Control C to look at the bottom. You could do it from the top as well. We're going to do UV project from view. Now that looks pretty good, but it's kind of got big, it's kind of a little big for me, the cork particles. So I'm going to hit A, go into it, and then hit A over here, scale. I'm going to make it just bigger. Just make it bigger. So that looks better. So 0, LH, and then we're going to go to render again. Alright, so if I were to render it here, it would look like a bottle, but it looked a little off. There'd be something about it that just didn't work. And what that is it's too clean. I mean, did you wash this bottle after you made the potion? That kind of thing. So one of the things this material already has, and I haven't showed you because I haven't got to that point yet, but if I go into this bottle, front view, bottle, I'm going to do a Shift H. Okay, so if we look at the material, it's a simple material. It's my glass. This is that glass that guy developed, and it just goes right into a glass thing. So it's still does have that standard glass BSDF, but this is the thing that causes all the magic. And then to the surface, but here I have this hand smudges. Now I got this from Polygon, and I won't be able. I believe I won't be able to give you this because it is. I did purchase it from Polygon, and basically you plug that into the roughness. Now, the reason why you don't see it when I render this is because this bottle is not unwrapped. So I'm going to tab into the bottle. I'm going to come up here. I am going to loop select this, hide it, L down here, hide it, because I only want this outside. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here like this, and I'm going to mark seam, not sharp. I always do that wrong. Mark seam. So basically that's telling it where to cut it out at. I'm going to come down here, loop select that, and mark that seam. I'm going to hit A to select it all. Now here's that handprint. Like I said, you can download this from Polygon. They might have some smudges that are free. This one was not. But you can see this bottle, it's unwrapped horribly because it hasn't been unwrapped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go UV cylinder projection. I can do it that way. I don't think that works all that well. So I'm going to do a UV unwrap. So here's that seam across the bottom. Here's the little bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit A on this. I'm going to rotate this to where it looks like the hand might have grabbed this bottle. Just like that. I'm going to grab this little piece here. I'm going to move that little piece right there where it would be. Alright, so I'm going to tab out. I'm going to render this again so you can see. I'm going to turn everything out. Yeah, I'm going to leave everything off. Let's show you real quick. Now you can see that smudge right there. If you want to see smudges really good, switch your renderer back over to Eevee. You can see the smudges real good. See how smudgy it is? There's the fingers. Like there's the wrinkles in the palm of the hand. So I like that. That's pretty good. By the way, this glass only works in cycles. Alright, that's for the outside of the bottle. Now, to make it look realistic on the inside of the bottle, we're going to add some condensation. So we're going to tab back into the bottle, hit Alt H, turn everything back on. We're going to loop grab this again here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go down farther. Let's loop grab it here. Hide. L on this. Hide. So we have just this. So now the thing is, I need to know where my liquid's at. So we're going to Alt H all this to find out where my liquid is. We're going to click on this bottle here, tab back in. Since I had everything else hidden, now it like stays hidden and I go back to inside my bottle. I use that a lot. I'll hide stuff and then I'll bring things back in so it's easier to select. But it looks like my liquid ends right here. So I want to loop select this. Hide that. L on this. Hide that. Okay. So this is the air in my bottle. That's what we're looking for. This is cork. So cork comes down past into that air area. So we're gonna select the bottle again. We're gonna do a Shift H, tab back in. Ooh. And then this we're just gonna hide that. We don't do that. So this material is actually a completely different material. Select all of it. See how that was unwrapped? Not good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna loop select this guy back here. Mark seam. And then now we're gonna hit A, UV, unwrap. Now there's the inside of the bottle. Now let me show you the texture we're going to use. Since this is still the same part of the model, we don't change this. We add another texture, and that is condensation. And since we have it selected, we can hit assign. And this is the condensation portion. Now it's still the exact same color glass, but instead of that one thing, we have a normal map because normal maps make things bump out. And then we have this water droplets mixed bubbles from Polygon. Again, I can't give this to you because this is their stuff that I purchased. So what we're going to do instead is I'll still give you this as glass as a separate one, and I can leave the normal map on there, and you have to get this yourself. Again, they might have some water droplets for free, but this is how I did it, and I am a member of the Polygon. I have a 1-year membership. It's not cheap, but it gives you a lot of stuff. So anyways, so that's already applied to this. So what we can do is we can Alt H, unhide everything, tab out, and we're gonna go to 0. I'm gonna do Alt H again, and I'm gonna show you what this looks like. I'm gonna zoom in on the bottle here. Handprint on here, you have the condensation, you have the cork. Select off that. You have the cork. So this is kind of like a realistic looking potion bottle. This back piece of plain. I'm gonna apply a texture to it that's from Polygon. Polygon textures, if you get this add-on, it sets everything up for you. So this is a folder where I have everything. These are all the textures I have from Polygon. Lots of stuff, except that that's what W's. Okay, so we have different types of woods, and you can see the previews down here, which is nice. That's like a dark oak. I use this one for the top of my magic writing desk and my picture. I'll show that picture at the end of this, where you can apply something like this at. And let's see, I want a good floor. Low high. No, I scaled this up without applying the scale. So I need to apply all the transformations. I'm going to go back into the Unwrap.